Okay, gonna show how to do the star stitch. And so I'm starting with 18 chains. Whatever number you start with, just make sure it ends in an even number. So you're doing chains in the numbers of 2. Then you're gonna add, after this I put a stitch marker that shows me where my last chain is. You're gonna do 4 chains. So you've got one, that's one extra chain past my 18th chain. 2, 3, and 4. Now, I'm going to go into, see this first chain where the hook is coming from, skip that one, and to go into the second chain, wrap around, so you have 2 on the hook, and then wrap around the next chain until you have 6 loops on your hook. Now I have 5 on the hook, and now I have 6 on the hook. Then I'm going to wrap around and go through all 6 loops. Well, I don't want to keep it fairly loose. You don't want it tight. Okay, wrap around, go through that one. Now you have an eye. We call that the eye of the chain, the star, whatever. You're going to go through that hole right there, that eye. You're going to wrap around. Now you have 2 on there. Now what you're going to do, see these loops? So basically you have 6 loops. It kind of forms half of the star there. We call those arms. So we're going to go to the bottom arm that's next to the next stitch, and we're going to go behind it. Just that top of that arm right there. See? You're going to wrap around. Now you have 3 on the hook. Then you're going to go to the hole where that arm came from. Instead of the next stitch, you're going to go to the hole where the arm came from that you went behind. Now you have 4 on the hook. Then you're going to go through the next 2 chains, 1 and 2. So you have 6 more loops on your hook, fairly loose. Wrap around and go through all 6 and repeat that process. Now you have a new eye. So you're going to go through that eye. You have 2 on there. Then you're going to go through that first loop, go behind it, that first arm of the star, go behind it, wrap around. Then you're going to go through the hole where that arm is coming from, wrap around. Now you have 4 on your hook. Then you're going to go through the next 2 chains, 1 and 2. Now you have 6 on your hook again, wrap around, go through all 6. Remember to keep it somewhat loose because you don't really want that tight. Okay, wrap around. Now you have a new eye. See there, that hole? You're going to go through that hole, wrap around. Now you have 2 on the hook. Go through that arm. That first loop that was these little half star, those were the 6 loops that was on the hook. So you're going to go to that bottom loop there and go behind it. Go behind it. Now you have 3 on. Then you go through the hole from which that arm came from. Wrap around. Now you have 4 on your hook. Then you go through the next 2 chains, 1 and 2, and you just repeat this process. Okay, keep it nice and loose. Wrap around, go through all 6 loops. Keep it fairly loose, and then wrap around and go through your eye there. Wrap around, go behind the first loop, the first arm, wrap around, and then go through the hole where those loops were coming from, wrap around. Now you have 4 on your hook. Then you go through the next 2 chains. Now you have 6 on again, wrap around, wrap around. See that hole there? Go through that hole, wrap around. Then you go through the loop, the bottom arm of that half star right there. Go behind it, wrap around, go through the hole from which those arms were coming from. Be right there. Which basically is the next chain, the next hole. And then the next two chains, 1 and 2. You have 6 on your hook, wrap around, go through all 6 loops, and then wrap around. Now you have a new eye, go through that, wrap around, go through that bottom loop of this arm, the star there, half star there. Now you have 3, go through that hole from which those arms were coming from, wrap around, and you go through the next 2 chains, 1 and 2. Now you have 6, wrap around, okay, repeating the process, okay, close that up, create a new hole there, go through that hole, wrap around, go through that first arm of the star there. So you just kind of, just show it backwards because it's mirrored. You go down this way, like towards you. So when you're holding it down like this, it'll be the one facing up. Go down through that first loop there that formed your 6 loops, arm of the star, and go through the hole from which those stars were coming from. When you're doing it, I promise you, it'll make sense. If you're doing it with me while I'm doing this and pause it, it'll make sense, I promise you. Okay? Because I'm showing you the back side while I'm looking at the front side. Just remember that. Okay, so the next 2 chains, 1 and 2. Whoops, and 2. Oh, third time's a charm. All right, so we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wrap around. Bring that through without a snaggle. I'm going to close that up. I'm going to pause this for a second. All right, so now we've got 1 chain left, and I've closed up and created a new star. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going through the arm, the first arm this time. I'm going to go through here instead. But first, I'm going to go through this center star. Okay, so now I have 2 on here, and instead of going through that arm like we normally do, we're going to skip that. When this is only for the last stitch of the row, then you go through that last chain. Now you have 3 on the hook, and you're going to wrap around, and you're going to go through 2, and you're going to wrap around, and you're going to go through 2. So basically what that does is gives it like the same height and have an even edge. Okay, and that's how you end a row. And then you're going to start another row. You're going to switch here, but you're going to, first thing you're going to do is you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now your work should be on your left and your chain should be on your right. You're going to skip the chain for which the loop is coming from. You're going to go down into the second chain, wrap around, go down through the next chain, wrap around. Okay, and then if there was a star hole there, that's what you'd be going through, the base of the, like, it's almost like this one would be the arm of the star if you'd already had a star, and this one would be the base of the star, so that you have 4 on your hook. And now you go through the next 2 chains. You always end up with a stitch by going through the next 2 chains. Now you have 6 on your hook again. Wrap around, and voila, you start the new process. Go through there. You have 2 on your hook. You're going to go through that bottom arm there of the star. See, now you have a half star there. You go through that first arm of the star, go behind it, just like you did in the first row. Wrap around. Now you have 3 on there. You're going to go to the bottom hole from where those loops are coming from. Now you have 4, and then ending with the last 2 chains, you go. Now you have 6. Wrap around, and then you got a new star. Go through that hole, the eye of the star. You got 2. Go through that first arm of the star there. Go through the first, behind the first arm of the star. Wrap around. You got 3 on your hook. Go through where that hole is coming from. See these loops for that half star? Basically, you're going to go through the base, wherever that loop, that arm, see the arm that you went behind? Go through the same hole where that arm is coming from. You have 4 on there, and go through the next 2 stitches. That's the last 2 parts of your stitch. And you just repeat that process. And you end each row the same way. And you want to end with an even row so that you have a full star, because just you see what happens after you do your first row, you have a half a star, and then when you do the second row, it gets completed by the bottom of your stitch, and it becomes a complete star. So you want to make sure that you end with an even row, whatever it is you're doing. And I hope that helps. That's the star stitch, and it's pretty easy. And I appreciate your feedback on this. If there's any questions about this, I hope that it was very visible. Again, the star stitch is a very pretty stitch. I think that it's prettier when you're using very bright colors. A lot of people like to use like 2 tones, like if you're using blue, like a light blue with a, a dark blue. And so the transition of colors makes the stars pop out even more, you know. So again, this is just a very pastel color. I'm going to do one probably with some light and dark purple is what I'm thinking. I'm just using some scrap yarn right now. If there's another stitch that you're interested in, you would like me to do, please just comment and let me know. I like learning new stitches, and so I literally just learned this today, and I don't think it's that hard of a stitch. Just let me know whatever you are interested in learning. Bless you.